Well, Ella, I have bad news and I have some good news. Okay, you ready? I know you're kind of here on the operating table. Your guts are everywhere. Uh, you know, it's fine. Don't panic. I know, it's not funny. To you, it's not funny. Okay, not much of a sense of humor today, I guess. I don't have very good bedside manner with my patients, apparently, what I'm hearing. So now that you're here, and it's good that you're way over there because I've got something going on in my throat, you know. Ella can't catch it, but you definitely could. And I'm going to kind of struggle through maybe the next couple days here, but it's fine. So I'll just share with you what I learned here about Ella, a little update. So the engine block, it spun a bearing really bad, and there's not enough material left in the block to work with. So the block is toast. Yeah, you found out, same time. I just got a call from my engine builder, great guy. He was, as he was looking for a replacement block, he was randomly talking to his dyno guy that dynos the engines for him, and his dyno guy said, you know, I think I might have a 455 up on my shelf somewhere. And so he called me back. I just got the news. Yes, indeed, he does. It was a running engine when he put it on the shelf 15 years ago. And I believe him because he's a dyno guy. He runs engines. He wouldn't he wouldn't store an engine for 15 years on a top shelf if it wasn't free. So, not free money-wise, but you know, spinning freely, running. So we'll be able to salvage that block and the crank that's in it. And then we can reuse my heads, or maybe it has heads on. I don't know what the situation is, but I paid $650 for it, which is on top of getting the engine built, but it could be worse. It could have been a lot worse. So I'm very happy about that. You should be too. So we're on track. He's building the motor, and it so happened to have the exact same casting number on it as the engine that came out of Ella. So that's good news. Bad news, good news, you know, whatever. But we're moving forward. This episode, not about Ella. Still working on Mr.E, but before we do that, let's cue the music, intro music. Let's get it going, spin it up, and I will show you really quick the new car that's in the shop. Then we will not work on the new car just yet. We'll get to it and move on. So let's go. As you can see, we've got a 1970 Challenger in the shop. And it's, well, it's not time to work on it. But you'll get that joke when I tell you what I'm doing on it. And we have time for that. So there's another joke we all laugh at later, sometime later. Okay, so, well, first what I need to do is unhook the battery here because it's, I don't want the dome light to cause issues. There we go. Unhook the negative. Now we have no power. So, we've got a 440. From what I understand, it started out as a 440, and now it's bored out to quite a bit more than that. I can't remember exactly how much more, but a lot. Let's just say more than 440. So makes well over 600 horsepower, according to the dyno sheets. So very, very cool. I mean, it's an engine in a, you know, Challenger, so that's loud and rowdy and so cool sounding. So it's Cliff Notes history of the car, as I understand it, is the owner bought it. It was this color. I think originally when the car left the factory it was red with a red interior, but he bought it and someone had painted it this color. Plum crazy, I'm assuming. I mean, I haven't color matched it with my little color palette that I don't own, but I'm gonna say it's plum crazy. So, got the great RT sticker graphics on it, and he restored it, or had it restored, and decided to stick with the purple, which I applaud. I think there are way too many boring colors out there. Am I right? Yeah, I am. So I didn't even have to ask that because I know I'm right. And of course the black interior looks amazing with the plum crazy. I've seen them also with white interiors. There's something striking about white, but man, they don't wear well. So black is a great choice. So it's set up in a drag car style with the skinnies up front, fats in the back. It's not a drag car, but that's its homage is to kind of that scene, which of course this car and body style is very familiar with on the drag strips over time. So what I am doing to the car, or will attempt to do as such, is this clock is not working well. It's working intermittently, which could be a good sign because it's working. We just had to figure out what's causing the intermittent part of that. So there's my time jokes. There, you just received them and now you're laughing hysterically. Okay, so we'll be tackling that, but right now I am very sad to be walking away from the car because I have some things to finish on the on Mr.E. So we won't be working on Ella either. We will be working on this car. Later this week, the Challenger will get some love. But for right now, we're in the middle of something here. So, oh, man, I don't know if I should show you. I feel like I should get to work. Fine, okay. All right, I'll show you, but then we have to get to work. So, in front of me here, behind you, is Mr. F, and part of his body showed up last night, which is amazing. It's the first time I've seen the paint in person. And of course, that would be the doors. And I don't know if the video will show it very well, but this is the color. And I'll have the door inserts that go in there Yeah, just picture the whole car that color with the black wheels and the tan interior and the chrome and the just, you know, the side gills will be black. You know, I'm just saying, I love it. So, less boring colors, more interesting. So yeah, I just can't wait. I can't wait. It's already awesome to me. So, all right, enough, okay? Coffee drinking time is over. It's time to get to work, okay? We can't, you know, we're on the clock. And the clock says, another clock joke, it's time to work. One thing that I love about the car community, car people, and people who love to learn, which you're a person who likes to learn, and you love cars. Well, it doesn't take me very much observation to come up with that, so don't give me any credit for knowing who you are. Someone had the question or just the request, hey, can you go into more detail on the vent canister for the fuel system on Mr.E, and does there need to, how do you route the hose? Does there need to be any sort of loop in it? Anything like that. So I'm reading this and I had this light bulb just go off in my head. If you were to ask anybody, pretty much anybody, not a car person, just a person who understands how things work, if you have a container that has vapors coming out of it and you need to vent it out, do you want the vent to be higher than the container or lower than the container? Well, everyone's going to say, well, of course, higher. It's gases, it's venting, it goes up. You don't want it going lower. And in this case, you have also liquid in there that could possibly push out into the vent canister, which is what this particular one is designed for. And you want it to be able to run back into the tank when it's done expanding. Well, someone installed it wrong. So I have remedied that, and we'll go into just briefly how and why, which I kind of already did. But good catch. Thank you. Let's walk over here and take a peek, take a gander. If you remember from last week, I had the canister mounted here, which as you can see is directly in line with the bottom of the fuel tank. Yeah, so we already went into the sciencey part of that. I have since relocated it up here, if I can show you. So there's a little kind of indent in the trunk here that gave me just enough space. It's not touching, but it's just enough space to put the vent and the drain or vent hose above the top of the fuel tank. And the vent hose, of course, comes out right there. So what you want is, let me try to get a better view. You want, where's my view? There it is. Here we go. Try this. You want this hose that comes off of the bottom of this vent canister to always be running downhill. It doesn't have to run downhill a ton, but it needs to run downhill to the nipple on the tank, which now we do. And I have it fastened here to the bottom of the frame so that it stays that way and it doesn't move. That way the gases can vent up and then out, and any fluid that gets pushed through there and into the canister, which is baffled and designed for that purpose, will then drain back into the tank. So I don't know if that was enough of an explanation, but it certainly was a necessary question. Let's just pretend that this was part of learning and not spend any more time on it. Let's get back to something else that I am certainly hopeful that I'm not going to redo, and that's of course the brakes. So back to fast forward, and thank you for being a part of school time with Eric, where we're all students and nobody's a teacher. It's update time, you know? Stop the music. Thank you. Okay. I just figured I'd take you in just however far I've gotten on the brake situation, which is, you know, going swimmingly. Okay, so, you know the well-known, recognized, creative genius whose works go for millions of dollars. His name is Van Gogh, right? Okay. Well, I like to think of my brake work as the Van Gogh of brake work, you know? So it's open to interpretation as to you know, how genius it is. or how beautiful it is, because, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And in my case, my eyes behold a finished product, and that's beautiful. So with that, I'll lower the car down too to show up top, but I've got the line run, well, the light's in the way or whatever, but you can kind of see the master cylinder. It's too bright. And then the brake lines coming down, one of them goes to this fitting, which I have welded on, a tab here, painted it, and then, see, the other one is this one. It's the main line that runs to the back, and I've just kind of stopped it here. So this one is going to run up to the top of this, and I've made this bracket here for the this little junction block, drilled a hole, bolted the bracket up, put it here. This is just kind of temporarily affixed so I can kind of get my location. So the front of this, or at the back of the car, is where this will terminate. I had to put that in so that I could take what I have left here and measure from this point up to see how much line that I need, so that I can snip off the proper amount of line, get an end put on it, and then route it up in there. The other two lines will come out either side. This is one side, and this side will go over and dump down right here. Here's another one of those tabs that I welded in. And the other do the same. So once I get this line in right here, these other two lines I can pre-make, because they're just kind of straight shots out to there. I can do a little bend, so I can pre-make those lines before I put them up. This long line was the one I couldn't pre-make because there's no way to fit it in here unless I did it in more than one section, and I just didn't want to do that in this case. So all of the lines, the ends are made on the bench with my end flaring tool that goes in the vise. All of the lines are that way, except this end, I'm going to have to flare it here. So it's not my favorite way to do it, but you know, the whole thing's not my favorite. So let's just, by degrees, accept it for what it is. So let me lower the car and give you a little bit different view here. So what would have been so much easier, in fact, we can go look at Mr. F as an example. I made the lines on him, you know, for all his brake systems. I ran it, all that stuff. But that was without all the tin on. I could see what I was doing, all of that. It would have been much easier, and in most cases, the brake lines would have been run with the body off of the chassis. This is a custom-built chassis, so it would have been a simple matter to build the rolling chassis, get everything tightened up, you know, suspension-wise, where it goes, run the brake lines at least up to here. You know, you'd still have to terminate them. But I'm not doing that. I'm doing it while the car is kind of partially put together. So it just requires removing and reassembling the master several times to get my brake lines in. So I use tape to mark. This is a front line, rear line. Mark where they are on the tape, so at least I can get, without the master cylinder here, I can get the line routed pretty much good, and then I you know, thread it on the master cylinder, then mount the master and try to, you know, do what I can do. It's really hard to get a view of it. And that's okay, you know, because honestly, there's not much to see. You know, Van Gogh is a very private person. So, anyway, so my plan is to finish out the back, make those pre-made lines, get the line that goes from the front to the back done, that junction block, all that done. And then my final line will be the line from here, and it'll go kind of, it'll follow the cross member across and up, and then it'll go to that other side there. So there you go. This very important work has been interrupted by an update, and I just needed a break, honestly. I could have just kept going, but I thought, what else could I do other than this? Well, you know, I could make an update. How about that? So, but now it's over, and I have to get back to it. So, you know, just sit back and relax and let me do it, okay? I don't need any help. I mean, if you want to. I finished up the brakes, as you saw. Excuse my, I don't know, my voice. This is actually like several days later. I told you at the beginning I wasn't feeling very good, and I ended up 2.5, 3 days of not getting much done. I don't know what it is about being sick, but I always feel guilty when I'm sick and I'm just laying around. I have so much to do. It's like I'm making an excuse or something, but I'm not. I'm just sick. So, as you can see, I'm upright now. I am on the recovery road, but my voice will, sorry, that was a little fly. He's having a bad day, by the way. Yeah, all's good. I'm just on the other end of it. So, the braking system, I think Picasso would even be proud. It's very, very much. What's the word I'm looking for? You can tell that I'm sick because I even can't remember things worse than I even couldn't remember them before I was sick. So, impressionist. It's impressionist brake line routing. I think the masters would be proud. So, as long as it squeezes fluid through to the places it's supposed to and stops the car, well, great. That's what I want. Speaking of stopping, except it has 2 P's, which isn't technically correct, but e-stop, the electronic emergency brake. That is what I am going to start working on now. I don't know where I'm going to mount it. I've got the cables and stuff for the e-brakes, which mount here. I'll probably start with the cables, see where they kind of fall and end up, and then decide where I'm going to mount this. It's basically a button that goes on the dash, and you click the button, and you have e-brake. Since this is a manual transmission car, that'll be good. So it has a provision so that when the ignition is on and you press it, it won't activate, because that wouldn't be good. So anyway, I'm going to do that. I've got general installation instructions right here. Oh, I just ripped them. Well, shoot. Now I'll never know how to put it together. Also, I have lots of extra things. My half shafts. So I'm going to put those in. Actually, I'll probably put those in first. And then I have a remote oil breather for the engine bay. I don't know who makes this. I've never installed one, but I'll go look up the directions and kind of see. It just comes with its own mount. You know, it's got breather hoses, whatever, for the LS. So I'll be figuring that out as well. Okay, I think we're up to speed, up to date, up to, you know, where we're up to. And it's time to do some work. It's time to assuage my sick guilt by accomplishing something. Anyway, let's put on, I don't know, whatever. I can't think. You pick the music. Pick something not too stressful, okay? I just need to ease into this, if that's okay. All right.
was a hot summer's night. Lord, we couldn't close our eyes. It was a hot summer night. Lord, we couldn't close our eyes. An old woman's shout gave us a fright. She said, Willie didn't come back home last night. No. No. Willie used to hang out in the hood. And some of them were up to no good. They told him if he did this job tonight, it'd be a man, it'd be all right. His only sin was trying to belong. But oh, that night it all went wrong. Yeah, let me tell you.
Well, that was nice. Thank you. It was chill. I enjoyed my time. Did some work on Mr.E over here. I got the cables installed for the parking brake and everything, but I have not installed this yet because I need some brackets that I have to make, and I don't have the metal to do that. So I'll just do that next week. On a side note, I broke my tape measure. I have another one, so we're okay. I just had to steal it from the house because I kept it up there. I could, I guess, go buy one, but you know, I had one up there, so we'll just use that one until it breaks, and then I won't have any. Okay, we're gonna jump over on the Challenger. I don't know how far we're gonna get on it this week. This is kind of the last day, but we'll at least get the dash disassembled, the clock out, and hopefully discover something, you know? I don't know. It's an adventure. On adventures, you never know what's gonna happen. So let's go find out. Okay, welcome to Dodge Land, where the engineers are diabolical. You know, a lot of manufacturers put their hardware for screwing dash pieces, you know, just right where you can get them at the front of the dash. But Dodge, in their infinite wisdom, fastened some of these panels with screws from the backside. So you have to take apart a lot of the dash to even access those. It's possible, but it makes it more challenging. Another thing, to take the wood grain bezel off, you have to drop the steering column down. In order to get it down far enough, you have to take the steering wheel off so that the seat here doesn't interfere with it. And then you've got your two hanger bolts and 5 bolts where it attaches to the firewall to loosen, and then it can drop down far enough to get that bezel out, to get this out, so you can access that. So there you go. If you want to know how to do that, I'm sure there's a video somewhere, but it's not here. I just like to complain about how hard it is. You know, if you want to know how to do it, well, you know, there are places. Dodge made a lot of these cars, and a lot of people have them. So I am not going to repeat information. At least, you know, not on purpose. Anyway, we got the clock out here. This appears to be original, or original-ish. I mean, it's definitely not made in China. My plan is to take this battery and these alligator clips. Shut up, okay? All right. And I'm going to hook them up to this clock to try to get it to confess. That was morbid. No, I plan on just letting it run for a while and see if it does the same thing out here, hooked to power, as it does in the car. And I may even hook up the cable for the adjustment, you know, adjustment. You can set the time, just to see if that affects it or doesn't. That cable has been recently replaced. It's new, but the clock is still intermittently just stopping. So let me hook this up and just let it sit for a while, see what happens, and then we'll come back later in time. Another time joke. They're not going to stop, so if you don't want to hear them, just plug your ears. And then we'll come back and see what happened. Okay, well, I don't know if you saw that. The time lapse was pretty quick. I put 12 volts to it, but then it wasn't kicking off. So I adjusted, you know, I used a little adjuster on the back to kind of adjust the time, get it kind of kick-started. And it started and did exactly what it did in the car, which was run about 15 seconds and then stop. It's still hooked up to 12 volts. It's just stopped. So I am going to give the owner of the car a call, and we can talk about what he wants to do. Yeah, I think there's like one option, which is to replace it with something that works. So unfortunately, the replacement clocks are pretty expensive, but to spend all this time taking the dash apart, and I could clean this clock up. Clean the clock. I'm going to clean its clock. I know I can be a challenger. Okay, this is ridiculous. Let me give him a call. See what he wants to do. All right, I had to interrupt my work here because I had to take a phone call. So I'll go ahead and bring you in on what I'm doing. These are brackets that I had fabricated for this. There'll be one, well, the other one's right here. There'll be one on the front and one on the back. And we'll fasten these with 2 fasteners, and then I'll put 2 fasteners here. And then of course this will go over the top, just like that. And it will hang off of it. It will be perfect. So I'll nicety these up after I get the holes drilled, paint them black so you'll never see them, and they will do the job. So, and the phone call, I heard back from the owner of the Challenger, and he 100% agrees, let's just put a new clock in it. That one's old. New is what it needs. So that's getting ordered, and then we'll put it in, well, next week or the week after, just depending on how long it takes to get. So this car is just so nice. It makes perfect sense to have all of the gauges working, including the clock. So, I mean, I wish you could just touch and smell, and I mean, it's as clean underneath as it is on top. It's just a fun car. And maybe you'll hear it run one time, or we can always wait until it gets picked up. I don't really have any need to drive it anywhere, so I wish I did, but I don't. So it's just gonna sit here and wait for its new clock, and then it'll be good. So I'm gonna get back to this bracketry and try to finish up this electronical brake on Mr.E. And that's one step closer to having the elephant eaten. That's how you got to do projects. You just eat the elephant one bite at a time. So, all right, that was, yeah, words of wisdom that you can just, you know, enjoy. I love the smell of coffee. Oh, that's hot. Who would have thought? Just came out of the coffee maker. Come on over, let's sit down. We're, you know, calling it quits for the week. Well, it's been quite a week. I didn't get as much done as I wanted to due to the whole being laid up thing, but pretty good week overall. I'm glad that you decided to hang out with me again. It's fun. I always got something new going on. So yeah, I just got a call from the engine builder for Ella, you know, the 73 Riviera. And he, well, I didn't tell you this before, but the block that we sourced from the engine dyno shop that had been sitting on the shelf for 15 years, it was no good. So he just called today and he sourced another one at a race shop that used to race these Buick engines. And they had a block, just the short block, which is all I need. It's from a 75, but like there's a period of years like from 72 to 70 whatever where the blocks were exactly the same. Maybe the heads were different or whatever, but the block will work. So excited about that. He's gonna get busy on that. Maybe Wednesday he'll go pick it up, verify that it's good. I think that guy wanted 700 for that one. So it's in the ballpark. I think I was gonna pay 650 for the other one that was bad. So, so that's exciting. And yeah, I guess if you wanna come back next week, you can see what else is happening. It's not like I'm keeping secrets. I don't even know. So, you know, this is why I'm drinking coffee at 3 in the afternoon. It's brain juice. Hopefully it'll get my mind going. But well, I'm sure I'll be working on Mr.E next week to try to do a little more thrashing, getting that further down the road and out of the shop. If the clock shows up for the Challenger, we'll pop that in there. If not, we'll just do that when it does come. So, as always, it's a pleasure to have you along. And yeah, my mind is I'm not a great closer. Let's just put it that way. I don't know how to say goodbye. You know, let's just visit that for a minute. You thought, okay, we can shut down the music, or this is a false end. It's not a false start. I don't like goodbyes. I may have said this before. I'm trying to think. Anyway, I don't like them. I don't really know how to do them, so I just kind of leave when it's time to go. You know, I'm the awkward high five guy. You know, like, hey, or shake hand. I don't know. What do we do? I'm just trying to leave. I don't know what to do with the gestures. So anyway, I just, you know, see you later. No, it's just a quirk. It's who I am. So anyway, that's why sometimes these are long drawn out. I don't know what to say other than come back next week and grab some coffee or beer, have a seat. We'll chit chat while we build cars. That'll be great. And if I'm lucky, maybe you'll even help. No, that's not going to happen. I can't afford you anyway. We'll see you next week.